CBE 0, CBE 30 and pass submissions. This is the topic for this video. PAS means prior approval supplement. Before understanding these terms, we should understand the life cycle of the pharmaceutical product. First stage or phase is research and development. Second stage is technology transfer, exhibit batches, stability studies, then submission, query response, and then the product get approved. It is not like that once the product is approved, then no changes will be required. After approval also, during the commercial scale-ups, during the commercial manufacturing, some minor, moderate and major changes are to be done to the product, and the product should remain in the state of approved state. The product should be safe and effective. So whatever the changes are made to the product during the life cycle, these are required to be documented. These are required to be informed to the regulatory authorities, and the regulatory authorities should approve these changes, and then these changes can be made effective in the product. So whenever changes are there to the formulation or to the product, these are required to be documented. Three categories are there mainly for the US market, that is CBE 0, CBE 30 and prior approval supplement. So let's start with the information. First is ANDA introduction. ANDA is a generic application, that is abbreviated new drug application, submitted to the US FDA for approval for the generic product. The ANDA approval cycle is there, and the product should undergo the review process and then get approved. The approved ANDA includes various details like CMC information, labeling, bioequivalence information, and the other required information as per the guidelines. So once the product is approved, then why the changes are needed? These are called as post-approval changes. You might be known to the term of SUPAC, that is scale up and post-approval changes. The manufacturers of the formulation may need to update the aspect of the drug product. These aspects may be various types, like change in the packaging system, change in some of the grades of inactive ingredients after approval. Sometimes changes to the specifications are made. So all these changes are required to be documented, and these changes are categorized into CBE 0, CBE 30 and pass submissions. Based on the changes like minor changes, moderate changes and major changes, the submission categories are given. Some changes may be major, which can affect the safety and efficacy of the product. Some changes may be minor. Some changes may be moderate. Sometimes there are multiple changes also can happen or are required to be done to the product. So based on this, the changes effect onto the safety and efficacy, the different submission types are there. FDA requires submission to approve any changes to ensure the drug remains safe, effective and high quality. The change made to the product should not affect its quality, purity and standards. So what are the types of the changes? Three main types of there for the submission: CBE 0, CBE 30 and pass. CBE 0 means changes being effected. CBE 30 means changes being affected level 30, and pass means prior approval supplement. CBE 0 involves minor changes which can be implemented immediately. CBE 30 are the moderate changes which are or which can be implemented after 30 days notice to the FDA, and prior approval supplement involves major changes which requires FDA approval before implementation. Let's see what is CBE 0. It is changes being effected level 0. CBE 0 involves minor changes to the drug product that do not impact its safety, efficacy or quality, and these changes can be implemented immediately after submission to the FDA. Example: altering the color of the tablets to improve patient identification. As this change has no impact on the drug performance, safety and quality, so CBE 0 can be submitted. The manufacturer submits CBE 0 notification to the FDA. The change can be made immediately without waiting for the FDA approval. The FDA review it later but cannot stop the implementation. So, considering the key points of CBE 0 submission, it is for low risk changes and can be implemented immediately. Then CBE 30 submission, so changes being effected level 30. In this, the moderate changes are involved which may have impact onto the safety and efficacy, but these are more significant than CBE 0 but still do not affect the drug's safety, efficacy or quality. So these type of changes require 30 days notice to the FDA before implementation. Example is updating the design of the drug's outer packaging and its impact. It is having no impact or effect on the drug performance, but a change in visual presentation of the product. So process for this change submission is CBE 30 notification to the FDA. They must notify the FDA at least 30 days before distributing the product with the new packaging. If the FDA does not object within 30 days window, the change can be implemented. Otherwise, the change cannot be implemented. Key points for CBE 30 are: for moderate risk changes, CBE 30 is used, and it has a 30 days notice period before implementation of the change. PASS, it is prior approval supplement. As the name indicate, it is also called as PAS. It is for major changes that could impact the safety, efficacy and quality of the drug product. It requires approval of the FDA before submission, and the submission is PAS submission. Example is substituting a different inactive ingredient that could potentially affect the dissolution profile of the drug. So as I have mentioned earlier, these changes can impact safety, efficacy and quality. So PAS submission is there. PAS example is change in the dissolution profile because of the change in inactive ingredient. So if change is there in dissolution profile, it can impact in or influence the safety, efficacy and quality through effect onto the bioavailability and therapeutic efficacy of the drug. So PAS submission is required. The manufacturer submit prior approval supplement passed to the FDA. The FDA must review and approve the change before it can be implemented. The company cannot implement the change until they receive the FDA approval. And why the approval is required? Because these are high risk changes or major changes which can impact the safety, efficacy and quality. So past submissions are required to be done, and it requires FDA approval before the change is made. Now let's go quickly through the differences: CBE 0, CBE 30 and pass. CBE 0 minor does not affect the safety, efficacy. CBE 30 moderate, no effect on safety and efficacy. And PAS major affects safety, efficacy or quality. So this is the impact of change. Then examples of CBE 0, CBE 30 and pass. CBE 0 means color change of tablets or printing on the tablets. CBE 0 packaging change in the outer carton design. And pass changing formulation, composition, example new inactive ingredient. FDA notification requirement for CBE 0, submit notification to the FDA. For CBE 30, notify FDA at least 30 days before distribution, and for pass, submit prior approval supplement request to the FDA. Now coming to the differences in implementation. CBE 0 can implement immediately. That's why it is called as CBE 0. There is no waiting period for CBE 0 type of change submission. CBE 30, as the name indicate, implement after 30 days if no objection is there by the FDA. Then pass, implement only after FDA approval. These are the differences. Now, why different submission types matter? So in summary, we can see here CBE 0 are the low risk changes, CBE 30 are the moderate risk changes, pass is the high risk change. So CBE 0, as it is minor change and can be implemented immediately. CBE 30 is little bit moderate change, so it requires 30 days notice. Pass is a major change and requires prior approval supplement from the FDA. Understanding these submission types ensure that companies can make necessary changes without jeopardizing the drug approval and patient safety. So everything is there for the patient safety. So post-approval changes to an generic product or ANDA must properly managed to ensure continued compliance to the regulatory authorities, and it is submitted and documented to ensure patient safety, drug quality, and market continuity. So companies should assess the potential impact of the changes made to the product on drug performance, and as per the changes, the change submission type is selected. The change submission types are CBE 0, CBE 30, and pass submissions. So this was the information for CBE 0, CBE 30, and pass. I hope this video will help you to know more about these terms. Thank you for watching the video.